Stop wasting. Start composting. Let's turn your kitchen scraps into black gold for your garden. Hi, I'm Mr. Ann, your companion on this green living journey where we transform kitchen waste into nourishment for the earth. You know, composting is a fascinating process, but it's also full of little lessons if we don't truly understand how nature works. I still remember my very first compost pile. It just stopped breathing halfway through. No warmth, no life. I stood there, puzzled, asking myself, what did I do wrong? And honestly, many people are making the exact same mistakes I did back then. So today, let's walk together through 13 common composting mistakes. Not to judge, but to learn how life quietly transforms beneath our feet. 1. Not adding enough moisture. I often say compost is alive. It needs just the right amount of water to breathe. Many people forget this and end up with a dry, crusty pile where microbes go dormant, like they've fallen asleep in a desert. Imagine planting a seed in sand. Will it grow? Your compost pile is no different. If it's too dry, it simply can't work. The perfect moisture level feels like a wrung-out sponge. Damp, not dripping. If it's dry, add water. If it's soggy, mix in brown materials like dry leaves, shredded cardboard, or sawdust. I once ruined an entire batch just because I forgot to water it for a week. Now, every time I pass my compost pile, I stop to check in. I touch it, feel the warmth and moisture. Try that. You'll begin to sense what your compost needs. No fancy tools required. Patch 2. Not enough airflow. Here's a classic mistake. A compost pile that's packed too tight and never turned. The result? A sour smell, anaerobic gases, and sometimes fruit flies. But don't panic. Your compost isn't dead. It's just suffocating. Like us, microbes need oxygen to live. Air is their breath. A simple trick. Take a stick and poke holes down through the pile to create natural air channels, chimneys that keep the compost alive. I once compared two piles, one turned weekly, one untouched for 2 months. The first smelled earthy and clean, the other reeked. Same ingredients, different care, completely different results. Not chopping materials. Small enough, a tiny mistake with big consequences. I've seen people throw in whole avocados, corn cobs, even thick branches, and 6 months later, they're still there, unchanged. Microbes are powerful, but they can't bite big chunks. Help them out. Chop, shred, or crush your scraps first. Think it like cooking. A delicious meal starts with good prep. Composting works the same way. Each time you chop something smaller, you're showing respect to nature. You're helping life recycle itself faster. 4. Using manure contaminated with herbicides. A friend of mine once struggled with stunted vegetables. We later found out the manure he used came from cows that had eaten herbicide-sprayed grass. The leftover chemicals didn't disappear. They went straight into his soil, harming his young plants. Manure is wonderful only if it's clean. If you don't know what the animals ate, skip it. Use kitchen scraps or trusted organic sources instead. Compost is food for your soil. Don't let that food carry poison. 5. Not checking the pile regularly. Some people think composting means just pile it and wait. True, nature can do wonders on its own, but observation matters. A pile left alone for weeks can dry out, get too wet, or become a playground for rats and flies. Check every 3 to 5 days. Use your senses. Smell it. Earthy or sour? Touch it. Warm or cold? Look, are there bugs you don't want? That's how you talk to your compost. And trust me, it talks back through subtle signs if you just pay attention. Starting in winter with too many browns. In winter, leaves fall everywhere, so people collect them and start composting. But here's the catch. Lots of brown materials, not enough greens. The pile stays cold and barely decomposes. Instead, I like to store dry leaves ahead of time and mix them later with green scraps in spring. That's when the pile heats up beautifully, warm, earthy, alive. It's also a quiet reminder from nature. Everything has its own rhythm. If we rush, we lose harmony, even in composting. 7. Adding too much fresh grass. Have you ever dumped a thick layer of fresh grass into your compost? I did once, and 2 days later, the stench was unbearable. Grass is full of moisture and nitrogen. If you pile it thick, it mats together, blocking airflow and turning the pile anaerobic. The fix is simple. Spread thin layers and mix them with browns like dry leaves, straw, or shredded paper. Think of compost like a layered cake. It needs balance to bake evenly. 8. Adding too many evergreen plants. Evergreen leaves, like pine, ivy, or oleander, are tough and resinous. They can take a year or more to break down. Too much of them will slow everything down and upset the carbon-nitrogen balance. I still use some pine needles, but just a little, finely chopped and always mixed well. Nature teaches moderation. More green isn't always better. Sometimes less is perfect. 9. Lacking patience. This might be the biggest one of all. We live in a world that wants everything now, but composting doesn't work that way. Compost is transformation. It's the quiet art of decay, turning yesterday's waste into tomorrow's life. I once used half-finished compost because I couldn't wait. My plants burned, leaves turned yellow, soil turned sour. Now, I wait until it cools down, shrinks in volume, and smells like forest soil. Composting taught me that patience is wisdom. When we move at nature's pace, everything flows. 10. Adding too much oily or meaty food. Many people think if it's organic, it composts. Not always. Oil, butter, meat, and fish cause strong odors, attract pests, and make the pile go anaerobic. If you must add them, do so sparingly and mix well with browns, but ideally, skip them entirely. Think of your compost pile as a vegetarian feast for microbes. Keep it clean, light, and balanced. 11. Ignoring temperature. Temperature is the heartbeat of your compost. Too cold and nothing happens. Too hot and the microbes die off. The sweet spot is around 130 degrees to 155, 55 degrees to 65 degrees Celsius. Some people use a thermometer, but I like to feel it with my hand. When I touch the pile and feel that gentle warmth, it's alive. Let it feel like a warm handshake from nature, not a scorching stove. 12. Not protecting from rain or sun. I once left my compost uncovered. Rain poured, sun scorched, and soon it was a mess. Dry on top, soggy inside, full of mold. Since then, I always cover it with a breathable tarp or lid with small air holes. The cover shields it from harsh weather, like a small umbrella for your soil's future. Simple care, huge difference. 13. Wrong green to brown ratio. This is the root of many composting issues. Too much green, fruit peels, veggies, makes it smelly and slimy. Too much brown, leaves, straw, paper, makes it dry and slow. The golden ratio is 3 parts brown to 1 part green. That's the harmony your compost orchestra needs to play beautifully. I often tell my students, composting is like music. If the rhythm between greens and browns isn't right, the song feels off. When it's balanced, you'll know. It smells like the forest after rain, warm and full of life. Final thoughts from Mr. N. Composting isn't just about managing waste, it's a way of living. When you compost, you learn patience, awareness, and connection. Remember, compost breathes through air, moisture, warmth, and balance. Understand its rhythm, and you'll see that what we call waste is actually rebirth. Start small. A corner in your yard, a few minutes a day, and a heart that loves nature. That's all it takes. Because when you care for your compost, you're nurturing more than soil. You're nurturing your own soul. Thanks for watching. If you want healthier plants and less waste, subscribe. And let's make composting a natural part of our lives, one pile at a time.